Hello everyone, welcome back to Grow Roots. This is Shannon and welcome to my July 2024 container garden tour. I do apologize. This is like the second or third time I've actually filmed this. There's just been a number of things going on and footage getting deleted and it being too hot, so my device is overheating and I can't finish the video. Oh my goodness, there's been a lot of complications with trying to film this video this time, and I've been very busy, and so I'm just starting all over again for the second or third time. But here it is. I do this every single month. I actually used to include these in my backyard garden tours and front yard garden tours, but they've just gotten so long that I thought I would just separate my containers. And I actually did include my front garden containers in the front garden tour for July. However, some of those have changed and I want to redo those because I want to show you the changes. So you're going to see my backyard containers and my front yard containers. And so here we go. I am going to start off way over here on the side of my house over here. This is my hosta container garden. So this area right here gets almost full shade. They get about 1 hour of sun in the morning only, and then they get dappled, very, very light dappled sun in the late evening. When the sun goes down, it kind of goes through those clouds right there. So you can see there's not a lot of sun that comes through, but it does, and it is in the late evening. And these hosta are actually doing very, very well. This was an experiment for me. Last year nothing would grow here. We could never get grass to grow here. It's all just super shaded. Even though our grass is Palisade zoysia, it is supposed to be shade tolerant. It's not deep shade tolerant. So last year I decided to try hosta here, and I decided to try them in containers instead of planting them and creating a brand new garden bed because I didn't really know if they would work. I want to see what works first before I go through all this effort. And I got the pots on clearance for $10-ish a piece. They're huge. They're more than 20 inches across. They're huge containers. And then I got the hosta on sale for $1 each. It was about this time of year, actually, last year at Callaway's in Little Elm that I found. They were all crispy. Callaway's had them on clearance for $1, but they were very large hosta plants, and I picked them up, and I knew that they would bounce back after they came out of dormancy in the spring, and lo and behold, they absolutely did. And so this one is so pretty, those like ruffly edges. We also just got a little bit of rain, which I am so excited about. It was literally like 15 minutes of rain, but we haven't had rain here really in so long that we'll take whatever we can get, and we're happy about it. But this beauty with the ruffled edges that looks so lovely is Proven Winners Shadowland Diamond Lake. And then this one over here is Proven Winners Shadowland Woo La La. This one is a plant brand company called Blue Label, and it is an Ellerbroic hosta. And then this one is Elegans Blue, also by Blue Label. And yeah, the leaves have been munched on for sure. I have treated it a couple times with Sluggo. It probably could use some more. However, I think this is really grasshoppers. I've had a huge issue with grasshoppers this year. They do like to munch on everything that's green. So, but really from the distance, these hosta, I'm so overjoyed with how beautiful they are. You can't really tell that the leaves are being chewed on from afar until you get up close. And so I'm so thrilled with how they're doing this summer. No, they're not fried at all yet, honestly. And that's amazing because we've gotten over 100 degrees and the lows are in the 80s and all of those things. And they're doing really, really well. But moving on here, this is kind of my container garden for the backyard. And here is Chloe. She is our backyard garden cat. Someone I think dumped her, and she chose us last fall and started coming around, and we started feeding her. We provided her a warm place to stay in the wintertime in a warm house that had a heated pad in it. So anyway, she's so sweet. She was already fixed. I could tell because she has that tattoo, but she stays back here all the time. She cannot go in our home because I am super allergic and I need to wash my hands now, but I love her. She is fantastic. So coming up, I have 2 matching containers here. This one and then one over there. We'll walk over there in just a moment, but they're the exact same containers. And inside the container, I have lantana, and then I have pink verbena, and I also have vinca. So it's just kind of, they're all mixing together now at this point, and oh, I just absolutely love the way that they look. Plus, there's a new addition here. You guys will notice this. Right around the same time I'm going to be posting this video, I will also be posting another video. I did a garden haul from Temu, and I wanted to see if the quality actually is, you know, decent, considering they are super discounted prices. And so these are from Temu. These are solar garden lights, and yes, they do work. The only thing I think about them is I wish they would be a little more floppy and not kind of stay together this way, Chloe. But yes, they do work, and they are lovely at night. So love this container. Right over here, it's getting covered up by pink verbena and the blooms from the apple mint. I have a blue agave, and it is not hooked up to irrigation. It only gets watered whenever we get rain, which is very little in the summertime, and it's doing fantastic. It is lovely, and it survives our winters too, which is really cool. Right here, I have my herb garden, which is in a strawberry planter, and it's crazy. Okay, so there is a strawberry plant in here, just one, and then this stuff that's coming up here was not planted here. It is peppermint, and the peppermint is actually planted right here, and it is lovely. It is this beautiful peppermint smelling trailing mint, very vigorous, y'all. Do not plant this in your landscape unless you want to be pulling it out for years, but it is so vigorous that it's coming through there, and it's spreading shoots all up through the center here as well. So all that little growth there is peppermint. So it's lovely, don't get me wrong, I love it. Just be very careful with it when you plant it. Right here I have another type of mint, and it is completely different growth habit. So this is a trailer. You could use this in pots. I would love this as a trailer in some of my pots. I should probably take cuttings and do that actually, but this would be more of your not filler, what is your center thing that goes up, because this apple mint definitely grows up, and I had no idea that apple mint bloomed. Look at those, they're really pretty, and I will tell you, the bees love them. It's a great pollinator plant. And this apple mint, it smells lovely. It's a nice fresh minty smell, and it's lovely in iced tea or hot tea. So love that apple mint. I have lemon thyme right here. It's kind of a variegated lemon thyme, and it smells very lemony and lovely. And then here I have oregano, and it is blooming as well. Look at that. So that's all oregano. And then I have, this is either dill or fennel. It was destroyed by some caterpillars earlier, and this again is also either dill or fennel. And then over here I have a tricolor sage, and it is lovely. I would actually plant this tricolor sage in the landscape next time. I'd love to see that as a border plant or something like that. It is beautiful, and it smells lovely, and it tastes lovely. Oh, it's really nice. Coming over here, this is my desert rose, one of my absolute favorite plants. Currently, though, it is coming out of bloom. It still has a few of them for you to see, and look, they're nice and covered with little droplets. Oh, they're so pretty. But just a few blooms left. If you watch my June container garden tour, you will see it completely covered in blooms. Like, you couldn't even see any leaves. It was so covered in blooms. It's just kind of coming out of bloom at the moment. I'm sure it's got tons of new growth, so I'm sure more blooms are coming. And potentially right about now, I might also start seeing some seed pods forming. I'm watching out for that as well to get some desert rose seeds. But it's a lovely plant. And then it also has this amazing, like, bulbous bonsai kind of root that it's fabulous. Now, this does need to be overwintered in my home. I have no problems doing that because that's how much I love this plant. Like, really seriously, if you watch my my June container garden tour, then you will know why this is my favorite plant. It just gets covered in blooms most of the summer, and it's just a fabulous plant. Over here, I have my rosemary plant. Not much to say about that. It's just a pot that has rosemary in it. Here is kind of an accident. I actually had this pot and used it. This is actual, like, garden soil that I dug up from when I planted this clematis. I needed to put the clay soil in here because I mixed a bunch of compost down there, and I just put it in a pot. And then I had some wild purslane that came up as like a weed, but I thought, oh, I'll just put it in here and see what happens. And it actually took, and it's starting to flower. So this is purslane in garden soil. Don't ever do that. You're not supposed to put garden soil in containers, y'all. It's just that I didn't really care what happened here with the purslane and put it in there, and that's how tough purslane is. This is wild purslane too. So anyway, that's what that is. Coming over here, this is my strawberry planter, and yeah, so it also has a balloon flower perennial in here. Balloon flowers are just one of my favorite things, and I picked up like a really small balloon flower plant because it was on sale. I wasn't sure where to put it. I had a hole in the middle of my strawberry planter, so that's why it's there. But it's yeah, this is why they're called balloon flowers, because they look like little balloons right before they bloom. So moving on to the next container, this is another one of my favorite plants. Oh my goodness. This was actually a birthday present that I gifted to myself. It was this time October last year. But this is a summer carnival hardy hibiscus, and it's finally starting to bud up. It took forever for this plant to come out of dormancy, and I really thought it was dead, but many of you said, don't worry, it's one of the last to come back. Well, I have two other varieties of hardy hibiscus, and both of those had come back much, much earlier. I'm talking 4 weeks earlier than this one did. And so anyway, that's why it's so late to bud up, because honestly, it's just now getting going. So, but it's beautiful with this variegated foliage, this pink, cream, and green, and I cannot wait to see that flower. We are going to be going out of town, so I will bet you this is going to start flowering when we're out of town. I'm going to be so sad, but it's a beautiful plant, and I'm sure I'll be able to see some even when we get back. Over here is just a zinnia container. I believe these were double giant yellow from Fairy Morse, inexpensive one, $1.98 for the seed package. And these are really sturdy zinnias. I've had many that have fallen over. These don't even need to be staked up. They're standing up like that all on their own. They're about 3 feet tall, so that's crazy. And I also have some vinca down there. They're a little bit shaded by the zinnias, but they're still going pretty well. And this is a crepe myrtle. This was actually a seedling that popped up in my yard. I do not have a crepe myrtle, but my neighbor does. And this is what's left of the little bloom it gave me. But this is just from last year, and it's doing really, really good. And then this is the matching planter to the one that I have on the other side that I showed you. It is lantana. none of the lantana flowers are currently going, but it's coming out of bloom and into another bloom. But lantana, pink verbena, it's actually really quite pretty. And I had 3 vinca in here, but this is the only one that survived. Here, this is kind of my full sun table where I have the plants that I'm keeping an eye on. So I have a baby coreopsis here, a baby coreopsis here. They were just cuttings from my coreopsis plant that rooted, and so I'm just making sure those get watered really well. This is a Mr. Goodbud sedum that has rooted, these 2 cuttings right here, and this is also the same. These 2 have rooted, so I'm kind of babying those along. And then these are my baby desert rose plants. They are just a few months old, and they are just lovely. I'm so excited. And then this is a baby desert rose that is about a year old, and it still has not flowered for me, but it is doing really well. And there's Chloe, who thinks that she could be on anything. Over here is a really cool container. It is a Ferris wheel that, you know, actually goes around if you push it, and it has all these little planters in it, and in these planters I have hens and chicks. There's 2 different types. Ruby Hearts hens and chicks right there, and then the other type is something like Pacific Blue ice hens and chicks. So they are really cool. They are succulents, and again, these don't get watered honestly unless it rains or unless I'm out here supplemental watering. I needed something that could handle that, and those definitely can. And then I also wanted something that would survive the winters here, which these should survive the winter here. I think they're down to like zone 3 or zone 4, and I'm zone 8, so I think we should be good. Moving on over here, oh my goodness, I have a limelight hydrangea here. This is a baby. This is only its 2nd season. This was a cutting last year that rooted, and this year, voila, look at the magnificence. Oh my goodness, just so awesome. I have a zinnia that's kind of in this neighboring container right here, but it's going kind of crazy and mixing in with the limelights, and I think that's a good thing. So yeah, this limelight was propagated last year from a cutting. The way that I propagate my limelights, it's so easy, y'all. Basically in January or February, when you go, well, for me, that's when I prune my limelight hydrangeas, and it's all just you know, sticks basically, and so you prune them back because they all bloom on new wood, and then those sticks I leave them out for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then what I do is stick them in some soil. You can see I have some ones from this year that I have, and so then I give them the opportunity to root, and I just kind of make sure that the soil is moist. And only one this year took root, and it's this one right here. So this is a baby little lime hydrangea. I actually used cuttings from my little lime hydrangea this year, and let's see, there's the old stick right there if you can see it, and then this is all the new growth on that limelight. So this year it's just building roots. I'm leaving it absolutely alone, and then at the end of this growing season I can transplant it into its own pot, and it will be its own little lime hydrangea, which is super fun. So that's how I propagate my limelights. I do have a whole video on that, so you can check that out. It's more detailed. But in this planter, while I'm down here, these little seedlings right here are Chinese forget-me-nots, and this is taking forever to shoot up. But this one already did, and look at it. It's honestly coming out of bloom a little bit, but I love those beautiful little flowers. Those blue flowers, true blue, so pretty. I have it staked because it is kind of floppy. And then I also have zinnias planted in there as well. These are like, I think these are the double pinks, if I'm not mistaken. Again, from Fairy Morse, $1.98, inexpensive from Walmart, and they're doing really well. So that's what is in that planter. Here I have another planter of the zinnias. These guys have been through the ringer, let me tell you, and that's why you see all of this stuff down here. This I did not have hooked up to irrigation just today. I put some self-watering plant stakes in there because we were going out of town. And look, Gummy already took them out. Oh no, my dog, my puppy already took these out. Oh dear. She is a stinker. Okay, so this is gonna water this while we are out of town, but yeah, this guy, I try to water it every day, but yesterday I forgot and it was 103 degrees out, and this is what happens. And that's happened quite a few times, so I'm really damaging this plant. I'm lucky that it's still alive, but the top is fine. In this container, I have foxtail ferns. They are lovely. And then I also have a Confederate star jasmine that is kind of growing up that pole. I have some coleus growing right here. Pinto mix coleus is the name of this, from seed. And then over here I have Monstera deliciosa, brought in from my indoors. I actually will not be bringing this back in this year. I will be finding a new home for both of these. These is 2 Monstera deliciosas, but they're enjoying life right now. Look at this. Ooh, so beautiful. I just don't have room in my house for that in a bright enough area. And up here I have my very embarrassing hanging planters. I'm going to show it to y'all because that's what I do. I'm real. I understand that this was a major fail. They are filled with impatiens, and yeah, I have learned this summer, it's my first kind of experiment with impatiens here in Texas. Impatiens don't like it when it gets over 100 degrees out. And so once our temperature started pushing over 100 and we stopped cooling down at night, these guys just said, see you later. The leaves curled and dropped, and this is what we're left with. I will never do impatiens in here ever again. It's just really difficult to find. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do potato vine, sweet potato vine in here from now on, or a Kimberly Queen fern. Like, that's what I'm gonna have to do from now on. But those are my failed impatiens planters. I wish we weren't so hot, but nonetheless we are. Okay, so here are my front yard containers, and some of these you actually did see in the July front garden tour, but there is a brand new thing right there that I want to show you, and some really beautiful like progressions that I wanted to show you, as well as maybe a couple plant deaths. So anyway, look at this. This is Tradescantia zebrina. This was just a few cuttings that I put into a pot. The pot is sitting on top of a plant stand that's inside of a container, and so that's what you see here. But that Tradescantia zebrina is doing so lovely. It loves the heat. Honestly, it's a champ. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, they don't love life indoors for me, but that's why I kind of put the cuttings out here to see how they do outside, and they do amazingly outside. So that's really cool. And then down here is just a ton of variegated English ivy. It's actually evergreen. It will stay evergreen in the wintertime. And then there's some beautiful little dianthus in the middle there as well. I love, love, love this container. Again, it's just a plant stand inside of a container, and really, really cool effect. This is a Limelight Hydrangea standard, and it might look a little bit the same as it did in the July front garden tour. I just have more blooms, and it's blooming later than usual, but that's a good thing because then they don't get so fried. But it's just looking unbelievable. It's absolutely beautiful. It's quite a statement. And next to it, I have a Supertunia bubblegum, which is still growing strong. I love that look right there. The Supertunia bubblegum right next to the Limelight Hydrangea. I actually also have a Supertunia lovey-dovey down there, but it's on its way out. I just know it is because of the heat, and the bubblegum might be the same when you come in. Yeah, I have cut this back, but It probably could use another cut back, but honestly, every time I cut them back, they don't come back for me in this 100-degree heat. So I'm just gonna let it go. I have other things that I can put in its place, but it is looking beautiful. So I'm not taking that out quite yet. But this planter is on its way out in a sense. The top is dead. It is now crispy and dead. We had an irrigation problem for like one day, and that was yesterday when it was 103 degrees. I realized that this top wasn't getting watered, and so it died in one day. This was Superbina Peachy Keen, and it was still alive and kicking, but I did get plants to replace it, so I will be taking that out and putting some other things in its place. This second tier already fizzled out. It was Supertunia Persimmon along with Super Bell's Yellow that was replaced by Yellow Wave Petunias. Again, everything died. So in its place I have Vinca that I got on clearance, and then I got these for free. I don't know if they're gonna survive, but these are Bidens, and yeah, they're not loving life, so I got them for free. I just figured might as well try them. And then at the very bottom here is that Superbina Peachy Keen. This one's actually doing, I mean, it's alive, that it's trying to bloom, but it won't. I just don't think they like 100-degree heat. I really, really don't. And when it doesn't cool down at night, they just really, really struggle. So we are getting ready to have a cool down. I might just cut this back and see if it bounces back, but it feels like it's for naught, because it's just going to get back into the 100s again, and it's going to struggle again. So I don't know. I do again have other annuals that I probably still could fit here, so we'll probably end up doing that. I just wanted to show you and document that. Coming back up right here, these are my hydrangeas. So this one is the Big Daddy, and it's doing quite well. Something was going on here. All the new growth is just fine. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's still doing just fine, and you can see it had about 50 blooms or so. Look at that, full of blooms. At one time they were all blue / purple, maybe a little bit of pink. Now they're fading, and I'm leaving them on the plant. And the reason that I'm leaving them on is because you can see this one is already, it passed its little green phase, and it's already turning this pink magenta color. It will continue to go deeper pink into October, November, December, as long as it doesn't fry. If it fries, then the bloom is done. But if it stays this green color, y'all, you can keep it on the plant, and it will turn this pinkish color, which it is now. All of these are still, well, this one's kind of starting to turn that pink too. They are starting to turn colors, and they will continue to do so until October, November, December. This is an endless summer hydrangea. So just FYI, here in Texas, if they don't fry, you can leave the blooms on, and they will turn magenta in the winter time. This one is a variegated lace cap hydrangea. I've never seen it bloom, but it is absolutely beautiful. This is only its third season with me. I have a friend, Stacy, from the Stunning Garden Tour that I posted back in June. She has one of these, and it's in its fourth year for her, and it is blooming. So maybe I'll see blooms next year. I don't know, but it is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And right here I have a Gerber daisy. It just pushed out this one daisy. It is really beautiful, and I had an impatient here in this container. Again, the impatiens died out once we hit 100 degrees consecutive days in a row, so it's now just the Gerber daisy, and look how big it is. That thing was little when I planted it there, and it's just, there's all kinds of baby leaves that are popping up, and it's just doing fabulous. In here I have a Rex begonia that I just got on clearance, but it looks like it might, I don't know. It's got some new growth down there, so I'm hoping that it'll do okay. It just didn't take to the transplant very well. I have double up pink begonias back there. They're just not blooming. I have sweet potato vine that's not doing well there. And then I have this one, which actually is doing okay. This Rex begonia is doing a little bit better than the other one. I've even got new leaves coming up there. I've still got those double up pink begonias that are not blooming. And then I have Creeping Jenny. I have it hooked up to a self-watering stake that goes down there, and it's supposed to feed it, and it's been there for a week. I have not watered this plant in a week, and it's doing great. So that's really fun. But this is the one reason I wanted to show you this front container garden, because this is completely new and I love it. So this was filled with all impatiens, and again, my impatiens petered out. They were still alive, y'all, and especially this container was doing very, very well at one point, but the leaves were curling. It was not blooming anymore. It was just, I knew it wasn't going to get any better because it's just going to get hotter. So out they came, and in came my clearance plants that I picked up from DNL. So, or some of these I picked up from DNL. This is a leopard plant. It's a giant leopard plant. And it took to this transplant like a champ. No wilting, nothing. Like, it's done amazing. This happened about a week ago. And then here is another leopard plant. It's just it's a different species, but it's spotted. And I don't think it gets giant, but it had a little bit of a hard time. And then something's also, I'll bet you those grasshoppers are getting to town on it. That wasn't like that before, but it wilted when we first transplanted it, and now it's bounced back amazingly. It's doing fantastic. And so is this Brunnera. I picked up this Brunnera on clearance at Lowe's. I think I paid $9.50 for it. It was originally almost $20. And these are all new growth. And I cut off the dead, but it looks amazing. Amazing. You can get great stuff on clearance, y'all. This is on the clearance rack at Lowe's because it wasn't looking the best, but now it's doing great. So, and still in this planter are some vines. I have black-eyed Susan vines. Those are the ones that survived. I did have Morning Glory, a blue pickety Morning Glory, but it's the black-eyed Susan that went crazy. And I'll just show you what they're doing right now. They are climbing all the way up, which is exactly what I wanted them to do. If you see right here, there's a bloom. They're not blooming profusely right now, but they do pop out these really cute little yellow blooms every once in a while. Oh, here's another one right there. And I hope in the fall they'll just really push out the blooms. I'm just not really sure. But in the meantime, it's coming up. I need to train those to go a little bit further this way. And then I have the same thing going on over here. And those are going crazy. So love, love, love those vines. And yeah, so that pretty much concludes the container garden tour. Oh, there's only one that I forgot. This one, it's again English ivy, and it's going up this little topiary that I created. And again, this is evergreen. This is the only thing in that container, but I absolutely love that look. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on the July container garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm actually quite pleased at how all of my containers are doing. Hopefully they will be as beautiful when I come back into town, but yeah, stay tuned for the August container garden tour. We will see how this goes the hotter and hotter this summer gets. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye, everybody.